Hey everyone, and welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going to be we're doing something a little different. We're not tackling a whole bunch of sources. We're going deep on just one,
Right.
the Proxmox Cookbook, and
Interesting.
we're going to see if this book really delivers on its promise
Mm.
as a practical guide for anyone starting out with Proxmox.
I am all for practicality, especially when we're talking about something like Proxmox, where hands-on experience is so valuable.
Yeah, you really need to get your hands dirty with it. So before we go any further, let's do like a super quick Proxmox 101. It's an open source platform, meaning it's free to use, and you can install it on pretty much any regular computer.
Right.
The magic happens when you turn that computer into a hypervisor, a platform for running virtual machines.
Yeah, so essentially Proxmox lets you carve up your computer's resources and create these isolated environments where you can run different operating systems, applications, you name it.
Exactly. It's a fantastic tool for both learning and running real systems, and the book we're looking at specifically focuses on Proxmox VE 3.4. Now, the thing that really piqued my interest about this Proxmox cookbook was the phrase, over 60 hands-on recipes.
Yes, that definitely leans into the practical learn-by-doing approach, which aligns perfectly with what we know about our learner audience. They're all about efficiency and getting things done.
Totally. They want to get in there and start building stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like it's less about theory and more about actually, building and configuring things. Plus, the author, Wasim Ahmed,
Oh, yeah.
is no stranger to Proxmox.
Right.
He's the CEO of an IT company and has built over 20 enterprise-level virtual infrastructures using it.
Wow.
So we know we're dealing with someone who's got serious real-world experience here.
That's always reassuring when you're diving into a new technology. You know, someone who's been there, done that, and can guide you through the process.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's crack open this cookbook and see what's inside.
Yeah.
One thing I immediately noticed is how well-structured each chapter is.
Uh-huh.
They're all laid out like a recipe with clear steps and explanations.
I like that. That's a great approach for a practical guide. It breaks down complex tasks into bite-sized pieces, making them less daunting for beginners.
Yeah, but each recipe has sections like getting ready, how to do it, how it works, there's more, and C also.
Nice.
Very organized and easy to follow.
Yeah.
Now, full disclosure, the book does assume you have some basic understanding of virtualization and networking concepts.
That makes sense.
It doesn't go super deep into the weeds with the theory.
Yeah, it wouldn't be very helpful to try to teach those fundamentals from scratch within the scope of a cookbook.
Right.
It's more about applying those concepts in a practical way with Proxmox.
Exactly. It's about putting that knowledge to work.
Hmm.
So taking a peek at the table of contents, it looks like the book covers a really wide range of essential Proxmox tasks. We've got chapters on installing Proxmox, navigating the GUI, managing clusters and virtual machines, configuring networks and firewalls, setting up storage, and of course, backup and restore procedures.
Yeah, a pretty comprehensive set of topics for anyone looking to get up and running with Proxmox. It's like a one-stop shop for the essential skills.
And some of these recipes look particularly interesting. For example, there's one on setting up Ceph storage, which I know can be a pretty complex topic.
Yeah, Ceph is definitely a powerful storage solution, but it can be a bit daunting for beginners. It's great that the book breaks it down into a step-by-step recipe.
Exactly. And it's not just about the how-to. The book also seems to do a good job of explaining the why behind the how.
Right.
So you understand the choices you're making.
Yeah, informed decision-making is crucial when you're building a virtualized environment. You want to know what you're doing and why.
Absolutely. And speaking of decisions, there's one thing we need to clarify. The book mentions a Proxmox subscription, but we know Proxmox itself is free.
Right.
So what's that all about?
Good point. Yeah. Let's clear that up. Proxmox is indeed open source and free to use. The subscription they're referring to is optional and gives you access to the enterprise repository for updates and patches.
Okay, so it's like a premium support option.
Exactly.
Yeah.
While it's not necessary for casual use or learning, it can be valuable for production environments where stability and timely updates are critical.
So peace of mind and extra support for those who need it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that really stood out to me is that the book recommends having at least 2 nodes to get the most out of the hands-on exercises.
That makes perfect sense as it emphasizes the cluster aspect of Proxmox. Clustering allows you to distribute your virtual machines across multiple physical servers, increasing reliability and scalability.
Exactly. And the book walks you through the whole process of setting up a cluster. Now, I know we've been talking a lot about the practical hands-on aspects of this book, but it's not just about following instructions.
You're right. It seems to go beyond that.
Yep.
For instance, I noticed that it provides advice on selecting the right hardware for Proxmox, which is essential for optimal performance and stability.
Oh, yeah. And it doesn't shy away from pointing out potential pitfalls or areas where things might get a little tricky. It's like they're anticipating the kinds of mistakes beginners might make and steering them in the right direction.
Yeah, a good practical guide not only shows you how to do something, but also helps you avoid common mistakes.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
And it's not all just basic stuff either. It gets into more advanced concepts like configuring VLANs, setting up a Suricata intrusion prevention system.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot packed in here.
It sounds like it strikes a nice balance between depth and accessibility, enough to get you started with more advanced configurations without overwhelming you.
For sure. And one thing I really appreciate is how the book encourages you to explore the command line interface. It provides clear explanations and examples of essential Proxmox commands.
That's a valuable skill to develop. While the GUI is great for day-to-day management, the command line offers more flexibility and control, especially for scripting and automation.
Couldn't agree more. And of course, no system administration guide would be complete without a solid discussion of backups.
Absolutely. And it sounds like this book doesn't disappoint in that department.
Nope. It dedicates an entire chapter to backup and restore strategies, covering everything from full backups to snapshots. It even provides tips on customizing the backup process.
Excellent backups are crucial for any system, especially one running virtual machines.
You said it. And it even touches on the importance of keeping your Proxmox installation up to date with the latest security patches.
All about staying secure and keeping things running smoothly.
Exactly. Now, even though this Proxmox cookbook covers a lot of ground, it doesn't expect you to become a Proxmox expert overnight.
Right. It recognizes that there's always more to learn.
And it points readers to additional resources like the official Proxmox documentation and community forums.
Yeah, it's a great starting point for your Proxmox journey, but it encourages you to keep exploring and expanding your knowledge.
So to wrap things up, it sounds like this Proxmox cookbook really lives up to its name.
It does.
It takes a practical, recipe-based approach to teaching you the ins and outs of Proxmox.
Exactly. And based on what we've seen, it seems ideal for anyone who's new to Proxmox and wants to get their hands dirty, building and configuring their own virtualized environments.
Yeah, I think you're right. This book is going straight to the top of my reading list.
Awesome.
It seems like a fantastic resource for both learning the basics and then tackling some of the more advanced Proxmox projects.
And remember, Proxmox itself is free to use, so the barrier to entry is really low.
Right.
You can start experimenting and learning without any upfront costs.
That's a huge plus. And the skills you gain from this book, whether you're setting up a home lab or working in a professional environment, are highly valuable in today's tech world.
Absolutely. Virtualization is everywhere, and Proxmox is a powerful and versatile tool to have in your skill set.
For sure. So for anyone looking to dive into the world of Proxmox, we highly recommend checking out the Proxmox Cookbook. We've included a link to the book in the show notes, along with other helpful resources to get you started.
And as always, we'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions or want to share your own Proxmox experiences, feel free to leave a comment below.
Until next time, happy learning. And keep on diving deep.